going to jump right in. I have a lot of information that I want to pass on to you tonight about the latest and greatest that I've learned in conferences and webinars and mentoring in the field of mentoring in the last year and change. Our InService, I guess, last year was on February 2nd, so we're just a little ahead of where we, or a little behind where we were last year. So we are going to go over some training issues tonight, and I'm going to kind of fly through them. In a sense, because you're here, oftentimes we sort of end up preaching to the choir. I understand that. And yet you are the ones that are here and getting the good information. And let me just remind you, especially those of you that are students, but even for the folks that are young in career and maybe bringing up a family or whatever, everything that you learn as a mentor is transferable to all your other skill areas in life. There's nothing, in fact, I got involved in mentoring because of a whole involvement with something else that didn't look like it was related until I realized all the principles applied. And so everything we cover tonight in some way translates to the real world or to other relationships that you have or to other commitments that you've made. And so it's my job, I'm kind of your mentor. I'm your coach, and it's my job to make sure that the things that we're giving you are going to be good for life. And so I'm committed to that. And so I just don't stand up here talking about mentoring updates and principles and that kind of thing because I feel like it's my job. I really want to empower you to go on and do really, really well. And so that's why we go over the things that we do and why I welcome your emails and your questions and whatnot. So if you've ever written me a question and I expected a one-sentence answer, I apologize, you'll never get one. Because I always see it as a training opportunity. I'm just wired that way. So without any further ado, there's a reason we put paper and pens on everybody's chairs, and that's because I'm hoping you'll hear a couple things tonight that are helpful to you as you go through this journey called mentoring. First thing I want to talk about is just sort of the current thinking out there about the longevity of mentoring relationships. As you will know, and if you've watched the videos and watched the training and all that kind of stuff, you know and you've heard us say that longevity plus consistency equals success in mentoring. And so it is something that we really emphasize. They've done some research and they found that there are 3 primary factors that contribute to a mentor making it for the long haul. Some of you have a shot at making it for the long haul. I realize some of you will be moving on, but some of you really have a shot at hanging with your kiddo for years. And so I want to tell you what plays into that so that you can capitalize on those things and make it work for as long as possible. The first thing that they have found in research is that the mentor approach, believe it or not, the mentor's own field of vision defines in large measure how long they're going to mentor. What I mean by their approach is they've summarized the approach in 2 different ways out there kind of in the research field. One approach is called I want to get this right, the prescriptive approach. The prescriptive mentor is the mentor who comes to the mentoring situation with some idea, some particular thing in mind, a goal or an agenda, perhaps specific grades or behaviors that they would like to see happen in the life of their mentee. The other approach that the mentor can bring to the table is one that we call developmental. And that's the approach with your mentee that kind of morphs over time based on the inputs and the needs of your mentee. It's far more rigorous on the mentor to be a developmental mentor because it requires that you remain, sort of on high alert all the time. What are you picking up on? What are you seeing? Where do you need to do mid-course corrections? You have this goal to work on with your mentee, and all of a sudden you find out that's not working quite so well for them emotionally or whatever. Can you make that adjustment? And if you can, you're known as a developmental mentor. And developmental mentors tend to last longer than ones that are prescriptive, and it's not rocket science as to why. Obviously, you set yourself up for disappointment if you come in with an agenda. And as a parent, I can tell you that. I learned that one, still learning that one. So the first thing is the mentor approach. The second thing is mentor expectations. You've heard the word entitlement thrown around, and you probably don't fall in that demographic that comes with a high sense of entitlement because you've done well at mentoring. That's why you're here. But if you come to the mentoring situation with a high expectation as to what you're going to get out of it, or that you're going to be thanked or appreciated, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. That's why I say in the training, definitely you need to be thanked. Definitely you need support. Have that in place. It's not your mentee's job. Make sure you've got other people around you who can give you the kudos and tell you you're doing a great job and all that kind of stuff. You need to hear it, but your mentee doesn't owe you that. They didn't sign on in order to fill your needs to be thanked. And so, and I don't mean that to sound harsh. I'm just saying we need to take those entitlements, those expectations, lay them aside, and find another way to get our own needs met. And right here, I just want to say, kind of as an aside, this is something that I cover quite a bit in training. You know, having the training out there on YouTube has been an interesting experiment because I did go out there recently and find out that, because there are 12 modules out there, I went out there recently and I found that the first 2 modules or the first 3 modules had like, I want to say 100 plus hits. The 13th module had 8 hits. So for those of you that are still in the process of finishing watching all the training, please do go all the way to the end. You may be amongst the, the ones that went all the way through all 13 modules, but it just breaks my heart to think that somebody would come into the mentoring situation and sign that piece of paper saying that they have watched all the training modules, when in fact that's not happened. Now I know a lot of you got the DVDs, and so that isn't relevant to you at all. But I do have a way of checking whether or not somebody's gone through all of those modules, and a lot of this stuff, so this will be a repeat for a lot of you, because a lot of this stuff is straight out of that training. So, and the third factor to longevity is family and agency support. Now, we work really hard in our office, my phantom writer and I do, to really make sure that you feel attended to. We do not want you to feel like you are going to run into a situation that's not going to have a ready response from us. We are equipped to respond to just about anything. And when I say that, I mean just about anything. I've had 2 interventions this week, okay, with school counselors and social services involving some of our kids. So we are equipped to respond to anything. Get us involved early. When you're not comfortable with something that's going on that in the child's life, if you're not certain they're safe, if you're not sure that you like what you're seeing in the home situation, there is nothing wrong with voicing that. The other thing you want to catch early is communication issues with the family. We are finding that over 50% of the early terminations, and especially the ones that kind of just fizzle out, do so because communication kind of gets dicey with the family system, and you don't get us involved early, and so by the time we are involved, people are mad at each other and frustrated, and they've lost phone numbers or flushed their phone down the toilet. That's happened so many times I can't tell you. But by the time it's to that stage where the communication is completely broken down with the family, there's just often very little that we can do to get it back. So if you start to sense miscues with the family, tell us sooner rather than later. Let us get the school counselor involved, and we'll head it off at the pass. We'll get it fixed. It's an easy repair, a little vinyl patch, and off we go, okay? So let us know what's going on. Family issues are an agency support, and I just hope you feel supported by us. It's great when the family supports you also, but again, we can't demand that. That's not something that we're in a position to require, and so the best we can do is make sure that dialogue stays open. So a lot of you have survived family dynamic issues already as I look around the room, and so you know what I'm talking about. And just to sum up this sort of longevity section, I just want to remind you that I really, even if it's one sentence a month, I really need a monthly update from you. I need it for a lot of reasons. I need it because I sleep better at night when I know that all of my mentors are active and doing okay and finding their kiddo and not missing each other left and right, and all this kind of stuff. There are also other bigger reasons, legal reasons, why it's just really good for us to be hearing from our mentors, because it hasn't ever happened, and I don't want it to ever happen, that we should end up in a situation where somebody accuses us of being negligent. And so the more often I'm hearing from you saying, we're doing great, we did this, we did that, the other thing, You know, I know it's hard. It's hard to remember. But you all have calendars in your phones now, and you can put in a monthly update, you know, with a one-time entry. So go ahead and do that and just have it ping you on the 15th of the month and just go ahead and shoot me a sentence saying, we're doing okay, we're not doing okay. You know, we need some encouragement, whatever, okay? So just another reminder about those updates. It really helps Sandy and I know where you're at. And every single email that you send us of that nature gets printed and dropped in your file. So you are covered if anything ever comes up. Any question ever comes up, it's to your diligence. And so, you know, we really are in your corner. We want you to succeed. Okay, that's longevity. Resourcing.